lots of curriculums in many schools that are now including diversity as a class where you get credits for. And they try to make it as fun and as interactive as what I've done with you. Because my style of teaching is have you interact with me as much as possible. I do small groups, I do dyads and triads. I try to get you involved with the information, with brainstorming, as opposed to me lecturing you and you passively listening to me. That's a teaching style that I don't feel comfortable in. And I don't appreciate that from someone when I go to a class and I want to learn about something myself. So I get that the way it's taught can turn you on. So hopefully, my hope is that you're thinking, wow, I thought this would be more boring than it is. Anything else? Any other self-assessment that you want to share with us? Something that you want to grow on or learn more about, or maybe the score was a little lower than you thought it would be?
I just don't go looking for races.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't go looking for.
You don't go looking for races.
It's like I work to increase my awareness of biased content on television programs like newspapers and advertising. It's like if you watch like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, there's a racist joke every 10 minutes in that thing.
Uh-huh.
Really a joke. Yeah, it's a joke.
But you didn't know when you were younger. Now you're watching it like, oh, that was a good one.
So, but you
aware.
notice it, and you know what, after this class, you might be on TV tonight, and your awareness around this might be a little bit more heightened, just because of the conversation we had today. And you might notice, let's say you're watching an old rerun about something like the Prince of Bel-Air, and you'll be like, well, that was a racist comment right there. They got away with that. You know, what I love watching is those movies from the 50s and the 60s, and the sexual harassment that used to happen, the bosses with the women when they used to openly smoke cigarettes all the time on those black and white TV shows.
Like the new show, Mad Men.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's a good show.
Yeah. And, you know, it's in perspective because, you know, some of the things that they do in that show today, you cannot get away with today, right? But you're still aware of, ooh, something just happened. So I really appreciate us sharing today with each other and with me, and you allowing me to give you this presentation, not just because your instructor who's teaching you about communication thought it was an important tool for me to bring to your toolbox, but because hopefully you saw some value in our time together. And so there's one last flip chart that I want to introduce to you before I go. And this I call the bridge of empathy. And I've created this flip chart because it really helps me visually get what my work is about. So in the world of this diversity, can everybody see this, by the way?
Yeah.
All right. The discovery of the self, meaning who I am as a person, is important before we can even begin to be genuinely curious about others. And the way we open ourselves up to diversity is we begin to explore the diversity that we bring to the table. There's a school of thought out there, or a belief out there, that only people of color and have diversity, and white people don't have diversity. And as a diversity trainer, I'm letting you know that is not true. And if you ever go to a trainer who tries to sell you something other than you bring diversity to the table also, tell them, you know, look me up and talk to him about me, or just say, I'm sorry, this is not the type of training that I'm drawn to. I believe that when we all look at the diversity we bring to the table, meaning who our ancestors are, what are the rituals, what did our family introduce us to, what kind of foods, what kind of culture, what kind of language, what kind of fabrics, what kind of holidays are celebrated. When you become genuinely curious and you go to those people and that you grew up with and ask them more questions about your past, when that curiosity is sparked within you about yourself, then you will become curious about others and what their diversity is all about. And so there's a genuine conversation and a curiosity that takes place when we see that I also bring diversity to the table. And I'm learning more and more about that as time goes along. And for those of you who still have older family members who are still alive, this is an absolutely precious time for you to sit down with them and ask them about those olden days, and maybe even write them down and remember that, because one day you might want to pass that on to your future kids. All right? It has been my pleasure to be with you this afternoon. I wish you all the best of luck in your job-seeking abilities, and have a fabulous life.